Hello, BookTube. Well, the shortlist for the 2017 Man Booker Prize was announced. And when I was looking it over and I was mulling it, I kept being reminded of the climactic scene in Edwin O'Connor's great novel, The Last Hurrah, one of the two great political novels uh, in American literature. It's the story of an old political scoundrel in an unnamed city that is clearly Boston, who's mounting one last mayoral campaign. And uh, he is a thorough creature of the old ward politics, the corrupt backdoor politics that are slowly changing. The world is changing. But he hopes he has one more successful campaign in him. And it's looking that way. He's extremely popular, and his opponent is not. He's been extremely generous behind the scenes, and his opponent considers that unethical. And on election night, there's a big chalkboard. And the numbers are coming in and gradually changing as all the various uh, precincts report in. And one of the character's most trusted confidants, an old and trusted veteran of political campaigns, is watching the numbers, and he notices one little figure, something that no one else has noticed, something that's been totally overlooked by bigger returns and flashier headlines. And he notices that that number is not what he expected it to be. And it's the first indication in his mind, and the first indication we get in the book, that something has, in the groundwork, has changed, and that maybe the outcome is not as certain as everybody has thought. And I got that feeling when I was looking at the Man Booker shortlist. I want to go over it with you. Because you might have had a real life, you might not be following this stuff breathlessly. The finalists are Paul Auster's novel 4321, Emily Fridland's book History of Wolves, Exit West by Mohsin Hamid, Elmet by Fiona Mosley, Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders, and Autumn by Ali Smith. And you look at that list, of course, the headline has been that the list is half American. And that's got people wondering if maybe it was a bad idea to open the Man Booker to anyone writing in English in that year, as opposed to restricting it to Great Britain and the Commonwealth. Because I remember the fear years ago when that decision was made, was that it would be just overrun with these bulldozer Americans, and that the interesting national flavor and local flavor would be lost. That it all of a sudden become yet another Oscar ceremony. I didn't think much of that at the time, and I really still don't. The comments that the judges have been making this year, when confronted with that question by interviewers, have struck me as being spot on. We take the books, we judge the books, and let the chips fall where they may. We don't really care where people come from. The only problem that I have with those comments, that of course sounds great on paper, the only problem I have with those comments is that this shortlist makes me think they might not be true. So I thought we'd go over it one by one, and then I'll explain what I mean. The Paul Auster book, this enormous tome 4321, is more of a gimmick than a novel. It's yet another, here are alternate timelines of the same characters, and let's see what I can do with them. But it's a great big novel, by far the biggest thing Paul Auster's ever written, and he himself is a great big name. So its presence on this list is not really surprising to me. History of Wolves by Emily Fridland is a surprise to me. Not that it should be getting critical attention. I liked it when I read it. I thought it was very good. I was a little bit surprised to see it on the long list. To see it on a short list that does not include Sebastian Barry, that does not include Arundhati Roy, is a little strange. And I'd be willing to bet that if you put a couple of glasses of wine inside her, Emily Fridland would say, well, I'm not gonna decry myself, but yeah, I don't really belong here. Not if they aren't here. Maybe not. But even so, even though I don't think that the book is good enough to stand alongside the books that it has beaten out now, I still kind of like having a very smart, very sharp debut novel on a prestigious list like this. I think it sends the right message to everybody. Even people who've never published a single short story, who are writing away on their word processor in their apartment, and they're looking at the Man Booker, and the message is, you're not working in vain. Even if nothing comes of it, something can come of it. The next book, Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. I mentioned when I did my long list video what a breathtakingly stupid novel this is. Just it's not just poorly thought out. It's poorly executed. It's an amateurish thing. It's far worse than anything that first-timer Emily Fridlin would consider passable writing herself. In other words, she wouldn't pass along the finished copy of this book to her agent. She might show it to her friends or her writing group, just have them tear it apart, but she wouldn't show it to anybody else. And then there's Elmet by Fiona Mosley, which in my earlier video I said I had not read, and therefore I don't consider that it exists. I still haven't read it, and yet for some obstreperous reason, the Booker judges have put it on this shortlist. It's almost like they don't watch this channel. However, in the interval between that earlier video of mine and now, I have had probably 7 people whose literary opinions on when it comes to the made-up stories, to the prestigious fiction, whose opinions when it comes to the prestigious fiction I really respect, have said there's a lot here. There's a lot going on here. This is a worthwhile book. So I'm willing to begrudgingly to nod to its place on this list, even though it doesn't in fact exist. And then Lincoln and the Bardo by George Saunders. I was kind of surprised. I knew it'd be a coin toss between whether this incredibly lauded book made it onto the short list or Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad did. I'm kind of surprised at the choice, but I actually kind of like it. I thought that it was a very strong book, much stronger than The Underground Railroad. And then there's Autumn by Ali Smith. And you remember in my last video, or maybe you don't, maybe you have things to do other than watch Steve videos all the live long day. In my last video, I said that when I originally read Autumn by Ali Smith, it struck me as bland and not memorable. And then I had one of those friends, a friend whose opinions when it comes to fiction I really respect, tell me, I thought there was a lot to it. And he didn't preach. He didn't tell me go back and reread it. But when he said that, I took it upon myself to do so and found a lot that I hadn't found the first time. And in my earlier video, I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Man Booker judges went through the same procedure. They read it and thought, good, but not great, and then reconsidered and put it on the long list, and it's now on the short list. I predicted in that earlier video that it would win, and I would like to say that prediction holds true. I am still going to stick to that prediction, but the reason that I thought about that scene in The Last Hurrah is because of Exit West. I understand that in the shortlist of any literary award, there's going to be uneven quality. That goes without saying. That's in fact a strength, not a weakness. That means that your panel of judges are active, energetic readers who will disagree with each other. That I love. I wouldn't want it any other way. But Exit West isn't a dip on a graph. It's egregiously awful, and that makes me wonder what it's doing on the short list. The long list, maybe I could understand for political reasons, for topical reasons, one way or another. On a long list that's almost more demographic thing than it is a literary thing, I might maybe understand it. But the short list for the Man Booker Prize should be completely literary. All of its judges, when they've been interviewed about this short list, have said that it is. And there's no possible way, in my opinion, that Exit West could be on a purely literary list. Which means that I'm starting to think it's there for another reason. In other words, the thought that went through my head the minute I saw it on this list was the only reason it's on the short list is because it's going to win. So those are my fears. My fear right now is that this is going to go to Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. And that's why I'm seeing it here on the short list. The short list, I must admit, it a bit confuses me. The short list, in terms of the median level of literary quality, is actually weaker than the long list. And with the Man Booker, that doesn't often happen. So it a little confuses me anyway, and it knocks my confidence just a bit. So for the short list, for the Man Booker, this is it. This is all. It's all over about the shooting, folks. A month from now, we will learn who wins, and that'll be that. I'm still going to go with my prediction. I still think that Ali Smith's Autumn is going to win the Man Booker Prize for 2017. The only question I have in my mind now is whether or not it's going to get beaten by a non-literary entry, by a book that's being considered, put forward, talked about for non-literary reasons, and that would be Exit West. So, in a way, it's the worst possible thing. In a way, it makes me wish for a good, long, 500-page gobstopper by Iris Murdoch, because, in a way, this is the battle of the headline books. Immigration versus Brexit. Are you for it or are you against it? With in a way, although I now admit the literary quality of Autumn by Ali Smith, that is what everybody's talking about. They're talking about the Brexit novel, the first Brexit novel. And for those two books to, well, here's hoping that I'm wrong. In this particular weird instance, I'm almost kind of hoping that Paul Auster wins. But one way or another, that is the Man Booker shortlist. That is where we stand now. So in a month, we will all reconvene. My hopeful prediction is that Autumn will win. And my dire worry is that the reason we're even seeing Exit West this late in the game is because it has already been selected to win. Friends of mine who've been on literary judging panels in the past have said, don't spread this around on the street corner, but we pick the winner when we pick the long list. We're not going to reconvene and redraw the map every month. I'm hoping that hasn't happened here. One way or another, we shall see. So, I always want to hear from all of you in the comments field. In this particular case, especially those of you who are watching or are plugged into the current fiction scene, let me know what you make of this shortlist. Oh my, I want to hear everybody's opinions. And now that I'm done with awards stuff, we'll get back to complaining about books in no time at all. Thank you, BookTube.